Okay, so hello everyone. So welcome back for the last JavaScript. Okay, so okay, fine. Okay, so I think my screen is visible. So we're just going to start quickly. Okay, so we have covered most of the advanced topics and all. So what are the topics still left is we do see about what is asynchronous, async and await. That is the key concept that we're going to cover here, and we're going to cover about closures. Like it is going to be very hard for you. Like I know that like closures we're going to about closures, but it's going to look very easy. But when you understand the concepts behind the closures, then you need to go for JavaScript search. Like you need to learn about what is JavaScript engine, and then you get a clear idea of that how it's working and all. We will see that too, and also we will going to discuss about, I think, able for all. If any disturbance is there, like just give a comment here. Okay, so I will be there. And what next we going to see about, we just see about all the async, like why callbacks, promises, and async and await first of all, and then we move for the hoisting, like why it is, what is mean by hoisting, but we don't use the hoisting available and all. Like hello everyone, and we're going to see about the closes. Oh, if we have any time, we're going to see about some of the cool features that are available after year 6. That several methods, array methods, several string methods has been added. So we're going to see about all those methods. Okay, so if time is that, okay, so I'm not giving a promise. Okay, let's get started. I think it's time's up. Okay, so and like I forgot about the rules. Like so the last address is going to be send you today. Like just fill it out. Okay, so after 5 minutes I need at the end of the video just going to take some of 5 minutes. If you have any doubts, you can ask that. Okay, sure, we just move on to that. So yeah, hello everyone. Okay, so what we're going to see now is, like, we're going to discuss about callbacks. So what is mean by a callbacks is nothing like you are passing a function to another function as an argument. That is a callback. So actually why we need that callbacks means, so like I will explain it. For example, yeah, we can go for js bin. So I will explain it why we need callbacks and what is callbacks, and then we move on to hello Tenarasu. I think the people from south is okay, fine. Okay, we go for here, and I just use the online compiler in the previous class. I'm sorry for that. Okay, so this is going to be an online compiler. I just going to code here. For example, I just going to write time consuming process like an asynchronous process, and we just going to write that. For example, I just going to say set interval. Okay, so this is going to be an set interval. So what this is going to have, so like instead of set interval, we can go for a set timeout function. That will be great for it. Just give a minute, I will take my notes. Okay, so just a minute. Okay, yeah. So because most of the case I just made the blender mistake typos. Okay, so I just use the set time out. Okay, so this set time out, what is going to have, it is going to have an callback function. It is going to have an callback function. Okay, so it is going to run this function at a particular number of time. Okay, so it is going to run this function at a delay of time. So whatever time we are giving, it is going to run. For example, I give 1000, it is going to consider as a millisecond, which means it is going to run a delay of 1 second. Okay, so here what I say, so here what I'm simply saying, like if this run, so just run console.log. Okay, console.log hello everyone. Okay, so hello everyone. Okay, so this is what I need to run. Okay, so what it is doing, like it is going to run this function. It is going to run those function after a certain delay of time. Okay, so that is what we just going to do that. Okay, so going to pause and sorry for that. So here we're going to look into that. Like this is console.log and hello everyone is what we need to run that, and after that one pause this function. Okay, so this is what here it is throwing me an error missing semicolon. Okay, need to pause the semicolon. Okay, fine. Why it's a semicolon, I don't know. Okay, so it is going to be an end of a statement like that. And after that, what I just do, I just going to write another console.log. Okay, so here I just going to write this is 2. Okay, so this is 2, and before that, and here I just going to write an another console. Here I just going to write an another console.log, and in this console.log, and here I'm write this is 1, something like that. Okay, so what happened, let's just, if I run this, windows.run proxy log, I think I missed out some of the spelling mistake here. Okay, so this is from my side. Okay, so I just run, and I just run this. You can see this is 1 is here, and this is 2 is here, and hello everyone is come at the last. So what is happening, just understand. So JavaScript is going to be an interpreted language. Okay, just understand, like JavaScript waits for no one, so it is going to run the code line by line. Okay, so here comes the thing, like if it go and read this code and it just executed, and here you can see this is 1, and you can see this is 2 is here. Instead of this, here instead of this code, it is written this. Why? Because just remember the word JavaScript wait for no one. So what is the meaning of that? So meaning of that is, it is going to be a time consuming process, which means I need to run this code after certain delay, right? So I need to run this code with a certain 1 minute delay. So then what happened? So okay, so I don't JavaScript wait for no one, so it just simply this is going to be an API only, like it is browser API. All the asynchronous process are handled by the browser API only. For example, if you are using fetch, if you are using call, set timeout, if you are using DOM, everything that is handled by the browser API only. Okay, even the console, that is also going to be in a browser feature only. Okay, so here you can see this set timeout, then what happened, it will send that to browser API. So the browser API take care of that. Okay, so the browser API take care of that, and after certain while, okay, so after certain while, then what happened, it will run the function to it. Okay, so JavaScript wait for no one, so it just execute this code, and it is going to be a time consuming process. So it's just sent to the browser API, and there there are so much of processes there right now, don't confuse it. So there is going to be a call stack, event loop, like that, so much of processes there. Just want to remember, it is going to be a time consuming process, and it is going to execute at the last after all the codes gets executed. Okay, so this is the only thing you need to remember here. So it just run here, and it will go for the next code when it read. So it says like I need to wait for a minute, so I'm not have a time, so just go for the browser API. The browser API handle that, and it will take care of process the code. It will wait for a minute. Okay, so and the JavaScript, meanwhile, what it will do, it will just run this code, and it will be executed. And after that, after this all the and this waited code just come, and it will executed. Okay, so this is default behavior. Okay, it is interpreted language. It does not go for starting. It is going to be an interpreted language. It does not wait for no one. Okay, so here this is going to be right now. You can understand, like, okay, so it is going to be and time delay. It is going to be a 1 minute time delay. So JavaScript wait for no one. So it is going to execute this. So it is 1 delay. So it is not waiting for anyone. So that what happen, it will just go for the another code, and after 1 minute complete, it will come and it will be executed. Okay, so right now just think about that. Okay, so this is going to be an hectic thing. Like for example, the want to run, if I want to run a function, if I want to run a code. Okay, for example, here I can say instead of that, what we can say means like this is going to be a function. So I just say after running this function, this function need to return something. So the return is going to be hello. This return is going to be hello. Okay, something like that we can say. Okay, so here what it is going to do, it is going to just simply, okay, it is just simply going to return a word hello. Okay, so what it's going to do, okay, I just set timeout. Okay, we can write that again. We can go for the traditional like set timeout. Okay, so inside that I need to run a function. Okay, so like this. Okay, just want to run a function. Okay, so here I just want to turn something into being, that is going to be hello. Okay, so this is the word I need to return, and I need to run that after certain delay, like it's going to be 300, like after 3 seconds. So it is going to be huge, like I just say after 2 seconds I need to run. Okay, something. So now what I want, after running this code, after that I need to do what I need to do. I just want to what we can say, like we can store this in a const, we can store this in a variable const, hey, like const call. Okay, so const call is equal to set timeout, like that. And here I say console.log call. Okay, so what normally we get the hello, right? So right now if I run the code, just notice that you can see where is this 4 is coming. Okay, just a minute. Okay, okay, where this 4 is coming, just a minute, we can go cut this. Okay, set timeout, this is going to be a 2, this is going to be console log. I need to call this function. Actually, where this 4 is getting from, we just log this separately. Okay, so just a minute. Okay, and 4 okay, so it is reading that. Okay, so just a minute. Okay, so what we can say, we can run this. Okay, okay, so we can go with some DOM, then it will be fine. Okay, instead of doing that, I just want to write set, I just writing a function set time out, and here it is going to call a function. Okay, so here it is going to call a function, and don't use this parenthesis here. So here I just going to say 3000. Okay, so here we can write certain function, and that function is going to be a my function, my, like this is going to be my function, and here I just want to say return certain thing. Like for example, here we can say return hello, like that. We can call and we can return, and we can call the function itself. We can call the function. Okay, so function, my function, and it is going to return the string hello. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so we have written the console.log, and we have created a set timeout, and we going to return that. And after returning this, so right now what happened, what is going to happen, it is going to return something, and it is going to return in the console, right? So this is what going to happen. Okay, so now just think about that. If I do that, then what is going to be happen means, like it is going to execute the same like this. Instead of return, we can go for the console log. Okay, console.log. If we can go for the console.log, it will be more easier. Like if I go for that, just think about this. It is going to run this and this is going to be executed. So the here what I need is, like for example, I have a fallback, like I need to run something after that function has to. For example, I need to run this console.log. This is 2, right? So I need to run this. Here we can say like this. This is 2, and we can make this as 3. Okay, something like this. And this you can see, this is 1, this is 3, and this is 2 is going to be there. So what I need is, so what's happened before no one. So what I need is, after running this function only, I need to execute this. After running this function only, I need to execute this function. Okay, so what I'm actually saying, like this function has to execute. Until then I need to wait this. After that only I need to execute this. So this is something like you need to work with callbacks. Like if you want to run a function based on the fallback, like after that function gets executed, you need to run a certain function. Then what you need to use the callback. So for using that callback, what you want to do means, like you need to pass a function. You need to pass some you need to pass a function as an argument to another function. Okay, so that is what you need to do here. For example, right now if I just pause this, it will not working, right? So if it is not working, so what you can do, like you can pass a function as an argument. For example, like you can see right now, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, but what is displaying, this is 1, this is 3, and this is 2. So I need to run this code. After this code get executed, so how can I do that? So I can just say, I can wrap this function with like get code. This is going to be a get code function. Okay, so this is going to be a get code function, and here I just wrap cut, and I just going to copy this. And right now what we can pause this. So right now where we are calling this function, we are calling this function and in an what, in an set time interval. Right now just consider we don't want this. So right now what I'm going to do, I just going to just consider this is going to be a time consuming function. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so I just say my function, I'm calling that my function. So now what we can do means, we can pause this function, as an parameter for your function. Like you can pause inside that, and we can say get code like this. So what would happen, like what happened means, like okay, so what we can do means, like we can pause this function as an argument to another function. So now what happens, so everything get an callbacks here. Okay, so why we are not using this simple callbacks, and why we are shifting towards something like async and await and promises? The reason is like something called as callback hell. So if I want to pause, like for example, just consider we have a function, and we have a function, and we are using that function, and inside that function we pass an another argument, and we pass an another argument as a function, and in that function we going to pass an another function as an argument, So now how it is going means, like it is going like an callback hell. Okay, so it is going like something like this, and it is going to, we need to go for something into it. Okay, so there comes an and structured way of callbacks, that is called as promises. Okay, now you can understand like what I'm going to put inside that. It is going to be very clear about the asynchronous process. So for example, if I say const, I just going to say promise. Okay, so I just say promise, whatever the variable name you need to give. So for creating promise, you need to give the new keyword, and you need to give the promise. Okay, so inside the promise you can have two parameters to pass, and you can pass that parameter. One is going to be the resolve, one is going to, sorry, we need to pass a function, and the function is going to have resolve as a parameter, and we're going to have a reject as a parameter. So what this resolve and reject will do means, the resolve code get executed, it is for success submit, and reject is for any error. Okay, so it is for any error. So okay, it is for any error. Okay, reject. Okay, so if your code gets successfully run, we can pass it to the resolve, and if your code gets failure, you can pass it to the reject. Okay, so that is what it will do. For example, inside this we can pass the set. Okay, so set in, okay, we need to pause the, I just pause the set timeout. Okay, so what it is going to be, it is going to be an time consuming process here, right? So set timeout. So here I am pausing and another function, okay, like this, and here I just say console.log halo. Okay, so this is what I need to pause. Okay, so after where this function is starting here. Okay, so after something the 2 minutes. Okay, so this is going to be an asynchronous, this is going to be an asynchronous process. So what I'm saying, like, after running this code you need to do something, right? So after running this code you need to do something. Okay, so here instead of passing console.log, okay, so we can declare a variable like let greet, it's going to be the variable, let greet is going to be the variable, and we are having here, and we can, what we can say, we can return those greet. Okay, so we can do that for callbacks also. I messed up. Okay, no problem. Like, it is going to be the return. Okay, so what this resolve will do, if the code successfully runs, then everything going, if the value that we are returning, that is going to be wrapped in the resolve. And that resolve we can something get here, like we can say, we can call our variable my promise. Okay, so inside that my promise, what we going to have, we're going to have dot then method. Okay, so what then method it's going to have means, uh, if it is getting success, if the whatever the function, whatever it is going to success, and here we can access for that, what is the value it is going to pass if we have an access for it. For example, simply we can say value. So I'm giving a parameter, so what this resolve going to return, so I just going to return here, and I need to use in the console, I just say console.log, and we need to display those value. Okay, so right now I just clear it. If I run this, okay, still it is showing me the 4. Okay, so instead of this you can go for 2 plus 7. Okay, 2 plus 7, why it's showing me 4? Okay, so I just cut those for the console. Okay, just a minute, I think I missed something. Okay, so whatever we're going to resolve, we just remove this. We can simply say like resolve let, we can simply say like I just going to pause hello everyone, this is going to be, and I need to pause a function. Okay, so now it is working. So what I need to do, I just say set timeout, set time out. Okay, so this is going to be a function, and this, okay, just a minute, I need to check whether I'm messing with the set timeout function or not. Okay, 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 we can go for a little bit quicker. Yeah. Okay, we can directly pause it and we can go for it. Like for example, okay, so what this resolve is going to do, like the resolve is going to get the result of it. Like for example, for example, this is going to be a function, I just going to say okay, and here it is going to be an reject method. What this is going to do, if some error is going to happen, we can get this error here. For example, if I made a mistake here, for example, if I do something like this, okay, so this is going to be a typo, like leave this, and if I just clear it, if I run it, you can see invalid, something like that, but we can actually get here. Okay, so how we can get that means, like how we can get that inside it means, like we can use this catch method. Okay, so for typo, like I can use this catch method, like catch. Okay, so here we can get the error of it. Okay, and we can throw the error what we need to display, like that console.log. If there is any error is there, and you need to, we can use those error, like error error. Okay, so that is the value we are fetching, and if I run this, you can see like we can do one thing, we can create an if statement. Like for example, I just say let x is equal to 5, and I check for a condition. If x is equal to 5, if x is equal to 5, and then equal to 5, if x is equal to 5, then I need to run this code, and else this is going to be an failure statement. And if it is going to be an else statement, I need to fetch some value. Okay, so those value I'm just going to pause here. Okay, so this is going to be an success one. Okay, we can say this is going to be an success one, and okay, I'm pausing here. Okay, just cut here, and we can say like this is going to be an failed one. Okay, so this is what we need to do. Okay, so now what going to happen, so this is this way of writing, like we can able to structure it. We can able to structure it, like for example, you can see if I say let x is equal to do, then I just going to run this code. So after running this code only, what would happen, this then methods get executed. Okay, so if it is going to be success, this then method get executed, and if it is going to be a failure, this catch method, then it's going to be executed. So how it is going to be helpful, so it is going to be helpful. Right now it is success. If I say something 9, then what happened, this is going to be an else statement. So the reject code will be run, and we're going to do that. So by using this method, what we can do, like if you want to fetch something, like if you want to grab something, if you want to if you are fetching with like if you are working with a URL, you are facing some any issue, network issue and all, what you can do what you can do, this promises resolve will be run, so otherwise the reject will get executed, so you can have the control over that. Okay, so but also you can think like this thing, like you can think like this promises new promise, this is so much of thing, right? So we need to work on with the so much of thing, and we need to take care of that. So how can we run this method a little bit simpler? So how can we run that? For that you can use those fetch method, like when you are working with API, you can use that. Okay, so when you are working with this API, that fetch URL is going to be one of the greatest thing, that is example for this catching thing and all. Okay, so even though like for example you want to modify something, okay, if you want to modify something, like if you want to the value plus the value, you need to add something like this. Okay, add something like this, this is called as chaining. So now what happened, I want to add a value, so I need to get a value from here, and I need to add this. So now what happened, this values get wrapped again with this resolve method, so you can call again for the new value, and you can get this. Okay, like this then and here you can call for a function, this is going to be the new value. Okay, so now how is the flow is happening, like it will send the success result, and if it is the success result, I need to take the value and I need to add something, and now it's go for again resolve, and it gets wrap again, then now it comes for the next, then it's going to execute this function. Okay, so it is like this, after executing this, you need to execute this, something like that. So if I say console.log, if I say console.log new value, you can see this chaining is available here, new value, the chaining is available here. Okay, so if I go for here and I change it to 5, if I clear, if I run this, you can see the chaining is got it, right? So we like that you can able to chain that. So this thing you can notice that somewhere place we are already used, that is going to be the fetch API. Like we are used it in the fetch one. Like if I say fetch, and this is going to be a time consuming process, so actually we add this fetch API in some of them like that. Right now you don't use that. So here we pass some of the URL, right? So right now I'm giving string, don't work on that. So we pass the URL, and here we can use then. Okay, so what this then is doing, so that then we will get a response that fetch is going to send me a promise here, and we will get a response here. Okay, so this is going to be a callback function only, and what we will do, we will parse this response by using something called as response.json, json this. Okay, so this again send as and promises only, and we can take that promises, and that is going to be stored in a different place, data, and we will say like where to show that data, like uh console.log data. Okay, so right now this is what we will do, right? So instead of URL, like we go for some of the URL, like I just go for the Pokemon API. Okay, so let's take some URL and we work on it. Okay, I just copy this URL. I don't know whether it is going to work or not. Okay, so I just run this. Okay, clear, run this. Okay, sorry, I just run. You can see it will get accessed, right? So all the Pokemon, like whatever the Pokemon API has, everything inside that it will get accessed. So how it is working, like you can see this is going to be a time consuming process, so I need to wait for it. I need to wait for, and after this fetch API successfully fetch everything, then only I need to parse this to JSON, then only I need to just convert this to an object, and after that only I need to log that. So I need to wait for this process. After completing this dot then is going to wait for until it completing, then it's going to return this, and after that this is going to return this. Okay, so we need to pause. We are holding JavaScript to wait. I need to do something. After that only it is very important, like you need to wait for me. After that only I need to run this. So if instead I don't use the then and all, if I don't use that, means what would happen? So the promises will not work, right? So we are not able to work with, right? So this is what this then method will do. Like, okay, so it is okay for fetching an API, and it is okay for working with that. So I use this with like structured way. For example, here you can see a then is here, and this is going to be take the only the success ratio. How can I check if there is going to be an error? Like you can just go for catch, you can write the here also, and I think the spelling I'm writing is correct. Catch method here also. So here what I just going to say, there is an error. Okay, if there is an error, return console.log, you need to return you have an error. So right now we are running in localhost, it is fine. So we can every time we can able to access that API and all. But this API is going to be a third party one, like we don't know like when we get an error and all. For example, if I run this right now, it is going to be fine. Now it is going to be fine. Like you can just think about that. It will take some time to display in the console also, right? So it is taking that API is taking some display. For example, what happened? Like if I mistakenly changes that link or something else, some network, everything has happened. If I run this, you can see you have an error. So now what happened, it is going to throw an error. So this is going to be a failed ratio. So then this then method will not work. So instead of this, catch method will be work. Okay, the same like that what we discussed in the promises. The promises also is going to do the same thing. Okay, so it is also going to do the same thing, and it will send it is going to have a structured way, and working with API we can use the fetch, because instead of using so bulky things, we can use directly this then and catch method to get the error and success ratio and all. Okay, so what is, for example, instead of that, instead of working with API, how can I replace promises with something else? That is a cool feature comes, that is going to be an async and await. So for that, using you need to use the async and await. For example, I say const, and I just say as like we can say a something like that. Okay, some any function async like that, and I just want to use the keyword async as, okay, asy thing. So what this keyword is going to do, like it's going to return, we just want to add the inner function, and here we can mention what the code to return. For example, I need to write this code. Okay, instead of by using the then and catch, how can I write that? Means, like for example, I just cut here, I just want to paste it here, so I just remove all the things. I just going to remove all the things. I just going to use this async and await. I just going to do the same thing. Okay, how can I do that? Means, like for example, in I just going to say the response in const x is equal to fetch dot something, and like this, const x is equal to fetch dot something, and we can wrap it here. And what next I just going to do, I just going to say like right now you have an error. Why? Because this is going to be a time consuming process, so we need to wait here, right? So for that you need to use the await keyword. Okay, so what this await is going to do, like this await is going to wait for this entire code to run. Okay, so this await is going to wait for the entire code to run. So after this code get executed, we need to say that you need to do something, and you need to do that, like that we need to say. Okay, for example, instead of we can say response. Okay, so we will go through the error afterwards, so you need to do that. And here I just going to say const user. Okay, this is going to be the user of it, and here we can say whatever the rest you need to fetch, and you need to fetch that response. And inside user response, this is going to be the response of that, and you need to pass this with JSON. Okay, like that. Okay, so this is also time consuming process, so you need to use the await. So here what you need to understand, like, so wherever you are using this await keyword, so this await keyword is going to be this await just a minute, unexpected. Okay, okay, where we are getting those error. Okay, just a minute. Just get the syntax typos. I don't want this. Like we want to run this keyword. Okay, okay, we can go for a function instead of normal thing. We just go for a normal function to run this. It shows me an error. Okay, just say const we go for async await async, and here I just go for an callback, and this is going to return me something. And here I just say let rest equal to, and here we can use the await, and here you need to tell which code you need to await. So here you can pause the URL to await. Okay, so it shows me, yeah. Function, and we can use async here. Okay, so we use const x equal to here, and use this async here, and we can use those functions instead of that, and we can pause this URL here. So whatever the URL we need to pause, we can pause it here, and after that we need to say let we can get the data, like say like that, we need to get the data, and we can pause this to await. And here what those await keyword will do, so what those await keyword do, so instead of that you can go for an arrow function, but I don't know why the arrow function is throwing error in JS bin. Okay, we need to check that, but we can able to work with the expector. And instead, okay, it's showing me like why I need to expect this one. Oh, okay, so don't care about the errors here, like it is throwing me error, but I don't know why. But we can use this syntax. This is the correct syntax, I know that. Okay, so we can go for the inspect console, and we can use here, so we can use those URL. So instead of that Pokemon API we have, like copy this. Okay, so we can pause those things inside it, inside hmm, inside, and we can say like this is going to be an await process, and what I need to do, like I pause those things as res dot we can pause those JSON like this. Okay, and after this we can console.log x, like this is going to be a function. It is going to like console.log. You can use those functions, and we can run those. It is going to return me a promises, that is going to return me pending. So which means like we can able to pause that. So instead of this, what we can say, like in the data itself we can say like after doing this you need to pause those data in the console. Okay, so I don't know why it's JS bin it's not working. Okay, right now fine, right, it is right now it is working. For what happened for this one? Okay, so it is showing me error too. Like here I can pause like console.log, and I can see data. Okay, I need to check whether the JS bin is not working here or not. Okay, it's throw me an undefined because I think we messed up something. Okay, so this is how the undefined call has been worked, but I need to check whether I messed up something or not. Okay, then sir, yes sir. Okay, okay, we need to fetch that, and after that we need to say like we need to send those data to that, and we can call those things. It is going to be x, we log those for x, and this is going to be an async call, so it will display me a promises, and like we have get that promises. Okay, so that is what I just expected. So I don't know why it is sorry for the time wasted in the JS bin, but we will get that response in here. Okay, so we are getting that responses in here. So it is will right now it is working in right now it is working finally. Like when I call this function, now what happened? So this async is take care of, like I'm going to use the async, and await is something like it is going to wait for this process to run, and it will store it in rest. And I'm saying like I need to pause that by using JSON I need to pause that, and I need to console log it. When I call this function, you can see that a certain time delays happened, in that time we will return that promises, and we will get the entire object right there. Okay, so this is what asynchronous process. Like if you want to run a time delay, what you need to do is like you can use the async. Okay, async right now I'm not going to use here, it is showing me so much of trouble. So I'm just going to use the async here. You need to whatever the place you need to use the waiting function, like you need to use the a await function. Okay, so this is what it's going to do. Okay, so this is what it's going to do. Okay, so this is all about asynchronous function and all. So right now let's discuss about the hoisting. Okay, so that is a weird thing that happens when we are working with JavaScript. That is going to be hoisting, that especially with the var keyword. Like for example, we can able to, before declaring it, if it is initialized, we can able to use it. For example, if I say, instead of that, if I say x equal to 5, you can notice that I'm not declared it because there is no value here. Okay, so that I'm not use the keyword anything, but I call the x. Okay, and I say, and what I can say like var x. Okay, so you can see something weird is here. Okay, if I run this, you can see it is working. How it is working means, just think about, it is initialized, right? It is initialized. It is initialized. It is initialized. But you can see, when I say console.log x, here only I'm declaring it. So after calling that only I'm declaring it. So this is the weird function. Like in hoisting, what is mean by hoisting means, like hoisting is something when when a variable is declared, JavaScript, what it will do, it will automatically takes away the declaration to the top of the page. So right now what happening, so even though I declared it in below of it, what happened, the JavaScript take it and it will be displayed in the top of the page. Okay, so that is what happening, and that is why it works. Okay, so but when I use these things in let, when I use these things in let, you can get a reference error. So why we are why it is get reference error, but here the concept is, the var, it will be acceptable. Like it will, you can declare you can initiate a variable, and after that when you want you can declare it. But let it also accept the hoist. But what it will do, uh, it will not run your code. Even though the hoist behavior is done. For example, if I say let x, it also what it will do, it will send this thing to do, like it will take this variable declaration to the top of the page, but it will not allow the code to run in our, like it will not allow the code, the value to use until it will declare. Okay, so that is actually called as hoisting. So hoisting, there is another thing, like it is used for declaration only, not for initiation. Like for example, you cannot use something, this is initiation, right? So you cannot access something that is before initiation. So this is we are not able to do. Like if I say that the, like even if I give var, you can see it is going to throw me an error itself, undefined itself. So reason is why, because this is initiation, this is declaration. So in hoisting, by using the hoisting functionality, by using JavaScript, so you can able to declare, you can initiate first, and afterwards whenever you want to declare the variable, you can able to declare it by using the var keyword. But let keyword, the concept of hoisting will work, but it will not execute, it will not allow the execution code. Okay, so in let and const, it will throw the reference error, but here it will not do that. Var will be allow that. Okay, so this is the thing, but it is something that over smartness of JavaScript. But it is better way, whenever you are initiating a variable, you just declared it. Okay, so that is a better way, but just understand what is mean by hoisting, that is fine. Okay, so this var we are not going to use anymore, so we don't want to do that. Okay, so this all about hoisting. Okay, so here comes the last one, that is going to be the currying functions. Okay, so we have discussed about functions, right? So we have discussed about so much of function. The among them there is function named currying. So what is mean by currying? Like currying function. Oh, sorry. If you, before you need to know currying function, you need to know about what is closest. Okay, so closest is something like a function get executed, a function is get like the function is ran, the function is executed, even the function it's never going to execute again. That function have access to and variable of its parent element. Okay, for example, we will create it and we can see that. For example, if we say const, this is going to be my first. Okay, so and if I run this, okay, if I just run this, and here what I'm going to do, I just going to create a variable. Note a thing, I just going to create a variable, the name of greet, and here I say hello, hello all, like that. Okay, so this is a variable, so it is going to why it's showing me error here. Okay, I need to throw a function. Okay, okay, still it's showing me an error. Okay, what happened for JS in missing semicolon? Why I need to give semicolon here? Function and identifier. Okay, so we will, after completing the code, we will discuss that. So inside that we will have an what? We will have an variable, and here I just going to say, going to declare another function. So here I just say const, this is going to be the second function. Okay, so I just going to declare a function that is going to be the second function, and here second, and here it is going to be another function. And here what I'm going to do, I just going to pause, like what we can say, in the alert we can use, in the alert we can use those greet one, those greet variable. Okay, so and after that what we can say, we can say return second. Okay, so here comes an interesting part, like why I need to give semicolon here. Okay, so I declared a variable something like first this. Okay, so I into that. Okay, so I'm just confused. Okay, so here what I going to, okay, so here what I'm going to do, so I just declare a variable, and inside that there is going to be a function, and that function is created two things. One is going to be an variable, and another is one going to create another function. And it is, if I call that function, what it going to return, it's going to return the this function. Okay, so here what I just say, I just say const my func. It is going to be a little bit tricky to understand, but no problem. Okay, right now you need to understand the concept. Okay, so I just going to say, I just say first, I just want to call this. Okay, so if I say console.log my function, here run this, it shows me alert is not defined. Okay, I made a mistake here. Alert, most of the typos. Okay, it throw me hello world. Okay, so right now you can see, like, okay, so it is executed. What is the problem? But you need to understand, this is going to be a closer function. Like you can see this function, we inside that we are created a variable, right? So this is going to be a separate universe. Okay, so this is going to be an, you can consider this is going to be a separate universe. So we have access to this variable inside this function only. But you can notice that we have this function, second function, and inside that function we are accessing that greet. You can see, right? If I run this, you can see hello world. So which means the value is getting access, right? So this is going to be a separate universe, right? So this is going to be a separate universe. Come on, come on, come on, it will not come. Okay, fine, I will move this. Okay, so this is going to be a separate universe, and this is going to be a separate universe. So then how this function is getting access to this variable? So you can just imagine, like if I call the my function, how it is get executed. So if I call the function, it will go and call this function. Okay, so what this function is returning, this first function is returning second one, so which means this one. So which means it is going to store this function, right? Inside this function, this is only going to store. I just remove this const. The second function only it is going to store, right? So which means we can say this function. So because it is going to return, so if I say first, it is going to return this one, this function, it is going to return the second function. So right now you can see it is in the, it is don't have that option, right? It is don't have that greet variable, don't have that scope to access that greet variable, right? Right now you can understand, right? So it is going to return only, it is going to save like that only. So it is don't have going to have that. For example, if I remove this, go for the console. Okay, go for the console, and we can call console.log, we can call for my function. Okay, so instead of calling that function, I just simply call for the syntax. What happened? My function is not defined. I just copy this. Okay, we can copy this and paste it here and run those function. You can see it will be executed, right? Okay, if I run those, okay, we need to call the entire thing. We just go and copy the entire thing in the console. Okay, so here I need to, instead of calling that, I just run my console.font and I run that. Here you can see it will return which function. If I say console.function, it will return this one, function and alert greet. You can see function alert greet. But just think about that, how now I stored here, how I have access to that greet variable, right? So how I have access to this greet variable, and you can think about that. So that here comes the closer concept. So what is the closer concept is going to be? So even if the function is that is the definition I'm saying, like even a function is ran, even the function is executed, even the function is not going to run anymore, the function have access to its parent element, like it remains the parent's variable. So that is what happening. Like if I say alert greet, so it will check for the here the function. Okay, I'm not having that function, so just go for my parent. So which is going to be the parent? The first is going to be the parent. Whether you have something, yes, I have something, so the greet is acceptable. Okay, so the greet is acceptable here. Okay, so that is how. So closer is nothing but you can access the function. Inside the function you are creating another function, you have an access for your parent, like you for your parent variable, you have that access and you can use it. Okay, so you can just think about that, how it is get instead of first function, how it is get stored here. And why this concept is very important means you need to understand how JavaScript engine works. Okay, so we say that JavaScript is an interpreted language, and some people say that JavaScript is a compiler, but it actually the combination of both. JavaScript use the JIT compiler, which means when the code, when JavaScript get executed for the first time, then what happen? It is an interrupted. It is like interrupt language. So it's go and read the code. Okay, so I need to create a function like that. It will read the code, and after the code gets interrupted, then the code gets compiled. So what is the use of interrupted? The interrupt, if you use the interrupted language, it will execute fast. It will, when the loading speed, the loading speed of the interrupted language is going to be fast, right? But the compiler is, it takes some, because it need to compile all this, it need to organize them. But once it get compiled, it, the repeated process, like the loops, like repeated functions, all those things get easier in compiler. But in interrupted, it will execute, it will get a start quickly, but when the program has more number of loops, more number of function, it gets slowed down. So that is why JavaScript uses both the thing. So in the initiation, when the starting of that JavaScript, it will get interrupted, which means the code get quickly, and after the code get run, it automatically compile. There is a pointer is there, and it what the engine will do, it will compile that code. So even though if you are using the loops and function more and more time, it will compile it. So what is meant by compiling? That is what we see. Like first time it will just go and run and it will save this, and after the next time what will happen, it will just go for here, it will say okay, so first function, so I need to instead of this first function, I need to, it will compile that code and it will put something like that. Okay, so here comes the worry, like if the compilation is done, then I don't have access for, if I say simply parent or greet, I don't have access for it, right? So if I run this one, you can see it is going to throw me a reference error, right? So because this is going to be the compiled code, right? This is going to be the compiled code. I don't have an alert, I don't have a greet variable outside a function, it is going to be inside the function only. So that is why in advanced function you have something called as closures. So in this closures, you can able to if I pause those function, even though it get compiled, it will check for, even though this function get compiled, it will check for the parent element whether any variable is available or not. If that is available in that, it will take access of it. Okay, so it is pretty trickier to understand that closures and all. Okay, so but right now understand, like even the function get executed, so you are using a function inside a function, and inside function has access to its parent function variables. Okay, so it have access, but it has only the child function have access to the parent only, but the parent don't have any access for the child functions and all. Okay, so that is the concept and all. I think that most of you done. So I think that we messed up with this that final one, like async one only, like it is not showing, but it will work in the console but not in the this JS bin. I don't know why, like we need to check that. So as I promised, like every concept has been compiled, but if you, I think like the last two session is going to be an mind heavy only. It is a little bit hard to understand only. So this is going to be a little bit beginning only in JavaScript. Even more, this is going to be an intermediate concept only in JavaScript. Even more advanced concepts are available to understand the engine, zip compile, and even more async and await. There is so much of there to understand. We'll have another workshop, we will do that. And I need to be going to have a 12 hours of bootcamp. I hope that if you are in LinkedIn, you will definitely see that we will do that and all. Okay, so we're going to have a 12 hours of bootcamp. If you want to spend your real time there, you just come here and you can spend that 12 hours of bootcamp. And one more interesting thing, if you are attend that bootcamp, you're going to have a surprise gift around 1999. Okay, so which means around 2000 rupees, you're going to have a surprise gift. I don't know what a gift is going to be, but you can attend that live. You can fill all the attendance form. You came to know like what is the thing you need to get those gift and all. So those people who are really want to motivate, we're going to cover all the essential thing for the kickstarting web development. So people here, just come there and own your prize. Okay, so that's all for today. See you in the next JavaScript classes. Bye.